Have you ever wondered what makes someone incredibly persuasive? It's not just in a casual chat, but in high-stakes situations where millions, or even the fate of nations, are on the line. It's not about having the loudest voice or the most aggressive arguments. It's about a finely tuned art, a special kind of verbal judo. Today, we're diving deep into the world of top global negotiators to uncover how they use English to not just communicate, but to truly influence. We'll break down their secrets, from the specific words they choose to the psychological frameworks they build, giving you the tools to transform your own communication skills. This isn't just about learning fancy words. It's about mastering the art of persuasive English to achieve your goals, whether you're closing a deal, leading a team, or simply trying to get your point across more effectively. Ready to unlock the next level of your communication power? Let's get started. One of the first things you'll notice about elite negotiators is that they are masters of listening. It sounds counterintuitive, right? We think persuasion is all about talking. Top negotiators spend up to 80% of their time absorbing information. They practice what's called active listening, but it's more than just nodding along. They listen for what's not being said. They pay attention to hesitations, the choice of specific words, and the underlying emotions behind the statements. They use phrases like, "So, if I understand correctly, the main concern here is," or "it sounds like you're feeling frustrated by the timeline." This does two powerful things. First, it makes the other party feel heard and respected, which immediately lowers defenses. Second, it gives the negotiator a treasure trove of information about the other side's true priorities, fears, and desires. They aren't just listening to respond. They are listening to understand, and that understanding is the foundation of all effective persuasion. Now let's talk about the language itself. Persuasive English, in the context of negotiation, is rarely complex or filled with jargon. In fact, it's the opposite. The most effective communicators use clear, simple, and precise language. But where the magic really happens is in their framing. Instead of saying, "You need to lower your price," a master negotiator might say, "Let us explore how we can work together to make this proposal more aligned with our budget." Notice the shift? The first is a demand, an ultimatum. The second is an invitation to collaborate. It reframes a conflict into a shared problem-solving exercise. They also strategically use what are called I statements to express their position without sounding accusatory. For instance, instead of "your proposal is unrealistic," they might say, "I'm having trouble seeing how we can meet those terms with our current resources." This shifts the focus from blaming the other person to expressing a personal challenge, making it easier for the other side to engage without becoming defensive. Another key linguistic tactic is the art of the question. Top negotiators don't make statements. But these aren't just any questions. They use calibrated, open-ended questions that start with what or how. For example, instead of asking, "Can you go any lower?" which invites a simple no, they ask, "What aspects of this deal are most critical for you?" Or "How can we make this work for both of us?" These questions can't be answered with a simple yes or no. They force the other person to think and reveal their thought process. It turns a confrontational back and forth into a guided discovery. By asking how and what, the negotiator subtly takes control of the conversation, guiding it towards a solution while making the other party feel like they are the ones coming up with the ideas. It's a brilliant way to lead without being bossy, and it's a cornerstone of persuasive communication. Let's move beyond words and into the psychological side of things. One of the most powerful mindsets that top negotiators cultivate is detached empathy. This might sound like a contradiction, but it's crucial. It means they work hard to understand the emotions and perspective of the other side, the empathy part. They genuinely try to see the world through the other person's eyes. However, they remain emotionally detached, meaning they don't get swept up in those emotions themselves. They acknowledge the other person's anger or frustration without becoming angry or frustrated in return. They might say, "I can see why that would be incredibly frustrating," which validates the emotion without agreeing to the substance of the complaint. This allows them to stay calm, rational, and focused on the objective. It's like being a doctor in an emergency room. You need to understand the patient's pain to treat them, but you can't let their panic cause you to panic. This emotional discipline is a superpower in any high-pressure conversation. Another fascinating aspect is how they handle the word no. For most of us, no is the end of the conversation. It's a rejection, a closed door. For a master negotiator, no is where the negotiation actually begins. They don't see no as a final answer. They see it as a temporary state, a starting point for more questions. When they hear no, they get curious. They might respond with, "Okay, I understand that's a no for now. Could you help me understand what part of the proposal is causing the biggest challenge? Or what would need to change for this to become a yes?" Hearing no simply tells them that their current approach isn't working, so they need to gather more information to find a different path. This mindset shift is transformative. It removes the fear of rejection and reframes every no as an opportunity to learn more and refine your strategy. It's about persistence, but a smart, strategic kind of persistence. Let's also touch upon the power of silence. In our fast-paced world, we're often uncomfortable with pauses in conversation. We rush to fill them. Elite negotiators, however, use silence as a strategic tool. After asking a tough question or making a key point, they will often just stop talking. They will hold the silence. This does a few things. It adds weight and seriousness to what they've just said. It also creates a bit of social pressure on the other person to respond, and often, in their haste to fill the void, they might reveal more than they intended. It's not an aggressive, intimidating silence, but a calm, patient pause. It communicates confidence. It says, "I've made my point, and I'm confident enough to wait for your considered response." The next time you're in a negotiation, try it. After you state your price or ask a critical question, just pause. Count to 3 silently. You'll be amazed at the power that a few seconds of quiet can have. Finally, the best negotiators understand the principle of reciprocity. This is a fundamental human instinct. We feel obliged to give back to others the form of behavior they have first given to us. They build this up from the very beginning of the interaction. They are polite, they are respectful, they offer small concessions or pieces of information first. It might be as simple as getting someone a coffee or acknowledging a good point they made. These small gestures create a bank of goodwill. Later in the negotiation, when they need to ask for a concession, the other party is psychologically primed to reciprocate. It's not about manipulation. It's about building a relationship based on mutual respect and fairness. They aim for a win-win outcome, where both parties feel like they've gained something valuable. They know that a successful negotiation isn't just about winning this one deal. It's about building a reputation and a relationship that can lead to future opportunities. They play the long game. So, to recap, mastering persuasive English like a top negotiator isn't about learning a secret script or a set of magic words. It's about a fundamental shift in your approach to communication. It's about listening more than you speak, and when you do speak, using simple, collaborative language. It's about asking smart, open-ended questions that guide the conversation. It's about cultivating detached empathy to stay calm under pressure, and seeing no not as an obstacle but as an opportunity. It's about leveraging the strategic power of silence and building relationships through the principle of reciprocity. These are skills you can start practicing today. In your next meeting, try to focus on truly listening to understand. Reframe a demand into a collaborative. How can we question? You feel a conversation getting tense. Take a moment to acknowledge the other person's perspective. These small changes can have a huge impact over time, not just in formal negotiations, but in every aspect of your professional and personal life. It's about transforming communication from a simple exchange of information into a powerful tool for connection, fluence, and achieving shared goals. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the art of persuasive English. I hope you found these insights from the world of global negotiation as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about leveling up your communication skills, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these tactics are you most excited to try out? Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.